Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to review the lyrics by Paul McCartney and edited by Paul Muldoon, who is a poet actually. And this book is essentially the lyrics to lots of Paul McCartney's songs during his career, both from his early days with the Beatles, with his solo career, and also with Wings. And it really goes in great detail about the inspiration for the songs, but also how he felt in specific moments of his career. Some of the people that has inspired him, like his parents, John Lennon, or even Linda McCartney, and also other people as well. And I think it's a great insight to this man's legendary career. I know that perhaps some people find some of his songs to be perhaps too romantic, or maybe many of them is only about love. But I think it's quite a big strength of him that he can, write so many songs about love in different ways, if that makes sense. I don't think necessarily all of his songs are necessarily great, how should I say, they are good songs, but perhaps the lyrics are not necessarily the best. But I do think when he has been on his peak, I think the lyrics stands really, really well. My background with Paul McCartney is really like, I kind of grew up listening to Hey Jude. My father is a huge Beatles fan, and he played Hey Jude for me when I was a child, and it immediately became the song for my life. I think even to this day, I still think it's my favorite song. But I also really loved all of his songs, or other Beatles songs, but also another song I really clearly remember from my childhood is Waterfalls. I think he made that in his solo album in 1980, and there's a great music video of that if you haven't seen it. But I remember that song really clearly from my childhood as well. There's also a song called Once Upon a Long Ago. He also made that in the 80s. I really love that song as well. I love many of his songs, but Paul McCartney always appealed to me in that sense, that I think he makes incredible melodies. Of course, some are better than others, but overall I think lots of his songs have good melodies. And when you really go into this book, what I kind of admire about him is like he's very honest about even about perhaps some of the mistakes that he has made, or the fallout of the Beatles, but also how he had to move on, and but also just about his relationship even with his girlfriend from the 60s, Jane Asher. I think he's very, very honest about their relationship, and he kind of still admires her, and that is kind of interesting to hear that after so many years. And I feel like you can clearly also sense that he knows words. He has been very much inspired by a teacher that he had in school that was great with words, but also his father, who he was really great with words too. So Paul McCartney has a great ability to kind of combine melodies with words, and that is interesting to read, I think. Another thing I'm also quite interesting or fascinated by with the book, and I've known some of these stories as before. It's really like the spiritual sides of Paul McCartney. Everything from the song Yesterday, the melody, he woke up with that tune in his head, and he thought someone else has made that melody, but there wasn't anyone. It was his, or him dreaming about his mother saying "Just Let It Be" when he was in the last phase of the Beatles, and that also became a very great song. And just some other, some coincidence with, Eleanor Rigby, that name. It's a very, very interesting song, and also one of his greatest lyrics, I think. But him you find out later on that in Liverpool, around the area that he lived, or at least have walked by. There's a a church yard with a stone where is this name of Eleanor Rigby. It's just interesting, I think. And there's also an incident where one of his daughters was born and was in it was a turbulent time when she was born in the beginning, and Paul McCartney was kind of praying, and then he suddenly saw kind of a vision of an angel, and that kind of inspired him to create the band Wings, because he saw angel wings. And that is an interesting thing, I feel, because I'm a bit spiritual myself, so I find this coincidence to be a bit special. If I could say a sort of a nitpick with this book, is like there's some songs that I love that isn't in this book, and then there's perhaps some songs that I thought is unnecessary to put in this book. For example, Tell Me Who He Is, which is an unfinished song that he never made, but he have found like the notebook of it, that he have written it. But I thought it was perhaps unnecessary to include that, but it's not a big issue I have. It's just I would have liked to see some inspiration of some other of his very good songs that he has made. One thing I really want to highlight is really also some of the photos in this, and also just you can see some of his handwriting for when he wrote the songs. This is like Distractions, which he made in the 80s. You see his handwriting there, and also here with Arrow Through Me from the 70s, which is also a very cool song. So yeah, I like it has some it includes some photos from his personal life. Also really find it moving, how he described some of the people in this, both from Linda McCartney, but also John Lennon. And even though that he had, some conflictions with him, you can clearly also see that he has a lot of admiration for John Lennon, and they had a great writing relationship. And that's interesting when you come to think about some of the hits. And he clearly admires John Lennon, and when he also talk about Here Today, which is kind of a song about a love song about John Lennon that he made after his John Lennon's death. I really find it moving to read that. Of course, the text, but also what he says about him. So yeah, overall, I will really highly recommend this book if you like songs and Paul McCartney, and also lyrics in general. So yeah, that is just what I have to say. Thank you so much for watching this video, and let me know in the comments if you have read this book and what you think about it. I hope you will all have a very nice day. Bye.